Hello everyone, and welcome to another News Coolum video and another charging site review. Now, I mentioned that for a few of my local chargers, I would end up doing charging reviews sort of in absentia. So if I'm doing local commuting or whatever, there's just not a chance to actually stop and do a full review while I'm there. So I figured I would just do some of these reviews after the fact and just kind of talk about the sites. And the first one I wanted to do is up in Anderson. This is Electrify America's charging site there. It's technically at a Safeway just off of Interstate 5. It features 4 of the Signet chargers. These, there are 2 350 kilowatt and then 2 150 kilowatt CCS units, and then of course there's this single 50 kilowatt CHAdeMO cable. So one of the interesting things about this site is that it doesn't have sort of landscaping blocks or walls blocking off the actual cabinets, but also the grid tie battery. And this is one of the first that I've seen where it's very openly showing the Tesla PowerPacks. Now, Electrify America had mentioned that they would be adding those PowerPacks to about 100 sites in California. And the reason for it is California has very high demand charges, and really especially with electric vehicles right now, and especially high-powered CCS vehicles, there just aren't enough of them on the road. There's so many more chargers than necessary for the current population of CCS vehicles that those sites aren't staying busy enough to offset what's called a demand fee. So essentially, if any period during the month your actual draw from the grid exceeds a certain point, you get charged per kilowatt. So whatever that point is that you exceed, and these charging sites can draw up to a megawatt or more of power. So even at $5–10 per kilowatt over those baseline demand fees, you can see a lot of money going out every month. I believe EVgo actually mentioned that it was one of the most expensive aspects of running a DC charging site. So Electrify America putting in these Tesla PowerPacks as a battery backup system or a grid tie battery system offsets a lot of those demand fees, because you get to keep a baseline draw from the grid very low while still powering these 150 and 350 kilowatt chargers. So it's good to see them doing that, because it's going to keep their costs down and just should make everything smoother, easier, cheaper for electric vehicle owners moving forward. But otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty standard travel site that Electrify America put up, and yeah, let's just jump right into the site score. So for accessibility, I'm going to be giving this Electrify America Anderson site a 9 out of 10. And the reason for that is it's just off of the freeway. It is in a shopping complex, and usually I knock that down a point, but this is a fairly large parking lot. It is rural Northern California, so you don't typically see parking lots fill up. And it is on the far side of the parking lot from a lot of the businesses that you would be frequenting. So you're not really competing for premium parking here or anything else. And so yeah, it's just off the freeway, a right turn here or there, and you're into the parking lot. So really the only point that's being deducted for access at this site is the lack of full pull-through parking. Again, just if someone's going to be towing a trailer, and that's very common in Northern California, someone is going to need to end up pulling in, detaching their trailer, putting it in a different parking spot, and then going to charge. That's just not acceptable, you know, because you can't block access, you can't block other parking spots while you're plugged in and charging. So we really need to work toward maybe getting some more full pull-through parking configuration. But otherwise, the site is easy to access. There shouldn't be competition for the parking spaces. You know, it's a 9 out of 10 for access. Now for amenities, the site is only going to get an 8 out of 10. Now there's a lot to do there. There's a lot of places to eat. There's a store there, but it's still lacking some of those basic travel amenities. Yeah, you can walk across the street to get to a gas station or something like that, but you're not really getting those gas station type services on site with the chargers. And then of course the other aspect of that is it's missing full covering over the chargers and over the parking spaces. And you know, that's Northern California. It gets hot during summer, a lot of sun. It's going to be hard to see the chargers, the charger screens, the cords. Everything's going to get hot during the summer. During winter, it's going to get snowy, icy, rainy, sleety. You know, you want some sort of covering for the chargers and for the parking spaces if possible, just to make things easier to use and more convenient. And so it's lacking those two things, sort of the travel services like the squeegees, the trash cans, that sort of thing, and then of course no covering. So it's getting an 8 out of 10 for amenities. It's getting a 6 out of 10 for site concentration. Now there are 4 chargers here, and you know, I would prefer to see 6 for a freeway stop, but 4 is going to, at this current time, allow most people to get an access to a charger right away, charging 4 vehicles at fairly fast or very fast speeds depending on the vehicle, because these chargers can max out any vehicle on the road right now. So yeah, I think 4 is adequate. It's above average. You know, it's that 6 out of 10 for site concentration. Like I said, I would prefer to see 6, but also this is, you know, it is Interstate 5, but it's Interstate 5 in Northern California, north of Sacramento, where it's a little less traffic than you would expect on Interstate 5, say, south of Sacramento. Still, it's good enough to get a 6 out of 10 for site concentration. For location, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. There's actually a ChargePoint charger just across the freeway off the same exit at the Vittles restaurant. It's a single 50 kilowatt ChargePoint, but these faster chargers are sort of few and far between along the northern I-5 corridor, and really Electrify America's build out along that corridor is what's allowing EV owners, non-Tesla EV owners, the ability to travel very quickly from, say, Sacramento up to Portland or whatnot, because Electrify America has actually spaced their charging sites out fairly well in the North State. And so this stop here in Anderson is kind of a key location, right? Yeah, you could say it maybe could have gone further north in Redding, where there's also east-west traffic as well. But Anderson is actually a kind of a hub in Northern California anyway, and a lot of people go through there. It's an important site. Northern California, or California in general, high EV owning population on I-5, major corridor, 9 out of 10 for location. For speed, of course, Electrify America is getting 10 out of 10. Right now, there are no chargers faster than them. 350 kilowatt chargers. We're still waiting for vehicles that can max out, or at least push the 350 kilowatt chargers to their max capability right now. Tesla doesn't offer an adapter for CCS, so they're not able to charge at what would be somewhere between V2 and V3 supercharger speeds for them. But otherwise, yeah, these are the fastest chargers available, fastest CHAdeMO connections available. Really, they're rated at 50 kilowatts, but they appear to be the 200 amp full 200 amp 100 kilowatt CHAdeMO cables. So yeah, there's really nothing faster than them available, so it's a 10 out of 10 for speed. And so that brings us to a total site score of 42 out of 50. It's just a strong B, just what you'd kind of expect from Electrify America's travel sites. There's a lot of opportunities to improve on this site, maybe a couple additional chargers, maybe some covering, especially for, you know, when you get into that sort of inclement weather that time of year. But otherwise, this is a completely serviceable site. There are 4 chargers with a lot of amenities on site, things that sort of align well with a 20 to maybe 40-minute stop, depending on the vehicle you're driving, how far you plan to go before your next stop, and what you need to do. You know, there's also an alternative sort of backup with a 50 kilowatt ChargePoint at the Vittles restaurant on the other side of the freeway off the same exit. So you really kind of have a lot of redundancy built in as well. Again, the fastest chargers that are currently available, and 4 of them that can simultaneously, you know, charge 4 high-powered CCS vehicles at the same time. And again, it was kind of cool to see the battery backup on display, or the grid-type battery on display, to offset those demand charges, so you know that this site is going to be fairly cheap to run and operate. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you drive through Northern California very often? Have you been to Anderson, California? Have you been in that region? And what do you think of just Electrify America's sort of standard 4-charger travel locations off of the interstates in terms of facilitating long distance travel, high-speed charging? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and thank you for watching.